Welcome to this week's edition of the Stardom Fan Podcast. I'm Mark, and with me today is my beautiful New Jeans bunny, Juno. Hey, buddy.
Hey, buddy.
How you doing, man? We got a great podcast for you all today. But first, what do you have for me?
So, I'm going to tell you a little bit what's going on with Hype, the company that basically owns Adore, and Adore is the company that has the rights to New Jeans, like basically their exclusive contract in Korea.
The
Fair enough.
question is New Jeans so popular that you don't feel you need a New Jeans background? We haven't talked about them like really since your birthday. I mean, it's been 6 months since we really had a true New Jeans minute.
That's because okay. So what happened was they did their own concert in Hong Kong and sold it out themselves, and it was awesome, and they produced it themselves. And then Hybe says like, no, let us be a part of it, like because they want to run a Hybe or like a door, but that's the same thing. And they went to the courts because like they've New Jeans is claiming that Adore broke their contract and they're free to do whatever they want. And Adore's like, no, they're still under a contract with us till like 2029. And the courts said yes until we actually decide what's going on. Not only can you not do anything, any type of promotion, whatever, without Adore's permission, if you do, it's 1 billion Korean won per person. So if all 5 members do something and Adore doesn't approve it, it's 5 billion Korean won, which is like $100 million or something crazy per
Did they
event.
did they technically change their name?
Well, yeah, they were NJZ for a minute, and then they were like MHDHH, which is all their initials. M.
Oh,
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
all right. So this sort of reminds so they can't do their act, but under like just their own names or a different name. Like I'm
Well, they
picturing
can book
like
them.
WWE owns somebody, but then once they leave, Babe Priestley is just going to be Babe Priestley again. It's like, can't they just like leave the empire and go wrestle, or I mean, sing and dance somewhere
Uh,
else?
I mean, I'm pretty sure I think that's why they went to Hong Kong. I think their contract is only exclusive in Korea, but I could be wrong. Can I get into my New Jeans minute, please?
Yeah, but I have another question. I mean, I'm the outsider, so I mean, it's possible that I have the same questions that others have.
Yay, boy.
When was the last time they released music, and how are they still like number three in the K-pop world?
Technically, they
I
did.
fed you a softball there. Oh,
Technically, they did release the song when they went to Hong Kong. Basically, they did all other people's songs, and they debuted like their own, like a new song called Pit Stop. But they only performed it once. But they haven't done an actual song in over a year. Yeah, they just won an award. Adore claims that like they're doing everything to like keep promoting New Jeans, even though they put them on hiatus like before they even said that they weren't that they were breaking their contract. And it's like they never announced once they were up for an award, and then they won the award as like the best girls group in Japan, and they didn't even announce that they won the award either. Like that seems weird. But I don't know. They just
I
keep.
just
They're just they're always like top three. They're like top three, both like I think aespa maybe, and then La Seraphim, and they don't even put out music because they're not allowed to. Now I'm gonna read you this article, and this article is funny because I found this article after. This article comes 2 days before the next one I'm gonna read really quick, and it's so funny because it's like, huh. So Hybe, the people who own Adore, who like own New Jeans, they basically bought out a bunch of stock in their number one competitor. So like basically like they're kind of like a monopoly, sort of. But this article says Hybe is just deciding to sell 243 billion Korean, I think it's called wons, whatever, stake in SM Entertainment to this Chinese company. And on May 27th, a filing, blah blah blah. They want to move around 243 billion, involving 2.2 million shares, which is about 15% lower than the current marketplace price. So they're trying to sell off their shares in this company, which is pretty fishy, right? Why would you be fighting to like buy out your competitor and then quickly trying to sell it off at below market value? That's pretty shady. It's almost like they're trying to like liquidate their
It's
assets
called
for some
shorting
reason.
or something, isn't it?
It's like they're trying to
I
like
don't
liquidate
understand.
their assets for some reason. Because this article is awesome. Will the BTS agency chairman Bang Si-hyuk face life in prison inside his 400 billion stock scandal? What I'm not going to read the whole thing, but basically, what this dude did, allegedly, is before Hybe went public, he was telling everybody that no, we're not going public. We're a private music company. But on the insides, they were doing everything they could to get ready for a public release, and they were telling all like basically insider trading, like a few select people, yeah, actually we are gonna go public. So what you should do is buy like basically manipulate the stock now because we are going public. And what is the limit? The limit is it's like a minimum 5-year sentence, but if it's over a certain amount. So if it exceeds, so it's a 5-year minimum sentence if you get caught for like the stock manipulation. But if it's over 5 billion, it could be life in prison. How much is he alleged to have manipulated? Not 5 billion, 400 billion. And then he personally profited like 300 million. So this story came
Freedom
out
bucks.
300 million.
Oh.
So it's basically like
that's the money we're talking about.
It's basically like if what's that come out to? It's like if the minimum sentence is 5 years, but if you manipulate over 5 million, it could be life in prison. And he manipulated like 300 million. Personally, that's just personally. So it's like he could go to life in prison. And then it's interesting. This other article came out days before where they're trying to sell off all their like stock in other companies. And then finally, I think it comes out to like 4 billion or like American dollars, like 4 billion that they could be sued for and have to pay out to like the past investors. And the company's only worth like less than, it's like right here, 8 billion. So they could be sued for like half of their company's worth. And their CEO could go to prison for life. But you know, people will still say that like they're completely on the up and up, and like the girls who like to cuddle stuffed animals and talk about cookies are the bad guys. That's my New Jeans minute.
Are they going to win?
I don't trust Korean courts at all, so I don't know. Probably not.
What stops them from just like piecing out and like signing with like Virgin or like Universal or something?
They have. I don't know. I mean, because I assume if they try to, they have to pay out a shit ton of money till this like thing is sorted with.
It just seems weird. It seems like they seem like the type of group that anyone would want a piece of. They're like, listen, sign with us. We're gonna give this fat fuck a ton of money, sweep it under the rug, make this disappear, and come fly to America. Life is good. And then next thing you know, they're on a reality show on Nickelodeon. Fucking Big Time Rush style, right? Could you imagine? At least it ended with a poi poi. Chicken Fam coming in with a coffee donation. Thank you, buddy. That was great. That was a great start. Do you want to attempt our new what'd you call it, segment to the Stardom Fan podcast?
Yeah.
What I would like to do, I think I just want to do one today, and then we'll sort of go from there. But I'm thinking, and when we're gonna get ideas for our podcast today, we threw it on the Discord, stardomfan.com, or in the show notes to join this group of friends. The reason we started with New Jeans is because our first reply was talk about New Jeans, and you were like, okay, I guess we have to. Our friend said to. And then Grizz shouted out, "Why don't you talk about white belt champions or red belt champions?" And I sort of that led me to almost taking that a step further. And I think it would be fun to talk about all the belts and maybe sort of the history of the belts. And if we're feeling really fun, maybe ranking the champions. So thought might as well start with maybe a belt that doesn't even exist anymore, the history of the SWA title. And then we can end on that.
Sure, I don't know
But,
anything about it,
well, I
but
got a fact sheet up, and then we'll just sort of, I think it'd be a fun little series, talking about our belts, and then I don't know, we can cut this out and just make it a separate episode. I don't know. At the end of every couple episodes, if they're running short or we need something to talk about, well, we'll break down the belts, and this one is definitely interesting. Like if I was to say to you, there's a title belt that is bookended with the inaugural champion being Io Shirai, no Io, and the final champion before retiring the belt being Mayu Iwatani, you would have to assume it is the greatest championship of all time, right? Make a commercial of that title.
all I know about the SWA belt is that the best champions just throw it in the trash.
Throw that belt in the garbage.
Utami,
But
Shiri, and Mayu have all thrown that belt in the trash, out the window. It's
it is
also
funny.
Thekla's baby.
I think that belt has been vacated more than it's been won. But we're
They
getting here,
basically
and I
made a
was
belt.
hoping we
They
would.
basically just made a belt for Tony Storm.
That's what it sounds like. So the idea was the SWA belt was brought into commission or
What does
introduced
SWA
in
stand for?
the Stardom World Association. How cool is that? They were like, you know what? This is 2016. Chicken in the chat would really know about 2016 time because like we're a little bit later in the game. He would probably tell us that 2016 is one of the greatest eras of all time. So May 21st, 2016, they come up with an SWA belt. They want to branch out. They make a belt that is the Stardom World Association belt. And this belt basically
You
this is
can't
even funnier.
wrestle somebody from your country. That's like the
Yeah,
stip.
and that's the stip, but there's actually it's almost like in the NWA. There's actually a Stardom World Association. This alliance includes promotions from Japan, um, the UK, and I guess it was British Empire Wrestling, France, ABC Catch, Mexico, women's stars. I don't know stuff I've never heard of, but I mean they had other factions working with each other. Spain Revolution Championship Wrestling, so it's really
Isn't that
freaking cool.
okay? But is that like what they have now? Like technically, Stardom's a part of like a unified Japan something. They do like the all.
Well,
They do like the. I'm gonna look that up. They do like all together shows. All
New
together
Japan
again or
started that
something.
too. Yeah, New Japan tried that a couple of years ago, and they had some kind of big
The
alliance. I think it
United
was.
Japan Pro Wrestling. So technically, New Japan and Stardom are a part of that.
Yeah, but who's included? And I think it died
New
as quickly
Japan,
as they
Noah. Well, because
put it together.
it sounds cool for one show, and then it's silly. It's like, you're just gonna. I don't know. Like it's maybe once a year it's a good show, but it can't be a promotion.
Well, all this is all stuff like that is trying to protect them from some big company in New York coming in and throwing their money around.
Tony Khan,
Yeah, that one. What the no, he's from Florida, right? What
who's
set the
he,
SWA belt
Juggalo
apart was
Juggalo Championship Wrestling. I thought they were Ohio,
yeah, they're throwing tons of YouTube money
and
around.
WWE is Connecticut. Talking about Empire State Wrestling, your local indie. They're gonna come in and take over by storm.
I'm watching so we got two. ESW is the big one. Like
ESW.
WWE guys have been there. But there's a sort of a wrestling below them, like the indie of indie wrestling, Nickel City Wrestling, and we're going to a show. We got first row VIP. It's at a casino in Batavia, Western New York. Like it is, and it's on Father's Day. It's gonna be fucking glorious. So that's my.
Nice.
You started it. That's my indie wrestling. But what you said was right. What set the SWA belt apart was its international only rule. A wrestler could only challenge for this title if they're from a different country than the reigning champion. Which didn't we like think it was pretty goofy at the time? Like Shuri, like isn't Shuri very bi or like multiracial? She was like technically Shuri just can wrestle anybody.
If she wants to
Give it to
wrestle,
Shuri. Shuri.
if she wants to wrestle like a white woman, she can be Japanese. If she wants to wrestle someone on the Stardom roster, she's Filipino. If she wants to
Yes.
wrestle a Filipino, then she's wrestles Fukigen because she's from Mars.
I would be interested in actually bringing up Shuri's stuff because I you bringing up the Filipino part like that like is there to me. They've had to have talked that on. It had to be a show that was on commentary or something because I remember being like, really? That's when we decided like, oh, they're just reaching at this point.
Well, because
uh,
I'm looking here, Tony Storm had the belt for 612 days, so they just gave it to her because they were obsessed with Tony Storm.
well, they did a lot of stuff in the UK, so 612 days. Most of the defenses for Tony Storm's reign was in the UK and America. So this was basically them really trying to push going international and giving it to a young Tony Storm to travel her home country and try to, get to a couple of the USA shows. I would assume I don't know for sure. Wildlife Facts get in the way of a good story, but they were probably at the New York City show, one of those original shows that you can catch up on Stardom World. We did already talk. Like this title's wild. The inaugural champion is Io Shirai, who
Oh,
defeated
yep.
Tony Storm in the finals of a 9-woman tournament, which took place in Barcelona, Spain. Like it almost just sounds like the Olympics. Like what is happening?
And then Tony Storm defended it all around the world. And then I don't know anything about Viper, except I watched her get her ass kicked by Utami.
Yeah, so I mean, if you got it up, do you want to go through the reigns? Because I know you actually followed the Utami stuff because you went back and watched most of Utami's stuff. So a rookie Utami ends up with this belt. Was this one of the 3 belts that Utami had when she was the big rookie?
She didn't just win that belt. She also ended up with the big ass giant Eve International Championship. I think that's the same time she was like the Futures Champion a little after that. So she was just collecting all the belts. And then what she did is she like threw all those belts in the trash and says, I can't be focusing on these belts because I want to go for like world titles. I know that she lost to Jamie Hayter and then COVID hit and the championship was vacated. I don't know how long it was vacated for. Vacated for a long time because this thing says like basically for a year because October vacated in January. Oh wait, no, vacated in I don't know. Jamie Hayter won it in January, and then it says vacated, and the next champion is October 3rd, B Priestley.
Mm-hmm.
Who B Priestley was like in Stardom at the time, so that just gave them an excuse to let Sherry beat her.
Well, it's one of those things too where she was in Japan. Like Babe Priestley.
Yeah, it was like a weird. It's a cool idea to have. It's a cool idea for a title belt, like this belt that just gets defended all around the world. And then global pandemic hits, and now it's like this belt has like these super crazy strict rules where we can only have the belt be on Shuri because she's technically Filipino. Not technically
Well,
Filipino. She's Filipino, so she can technically challenge anyone.
and then you end up in a world where in Japan, it lasted. I mean, they had wrestling shows and fans quicker than us, but their travel restrictions. I even hate like reminiscing about the COVID days, but they had travel restrictions that lasted even longer. So to have a belt that you had to fight a foreigner or someone of a different nationality than you, but you couldn't travel, like that really made it hard for this belt to survive.
So they just put it on Shuri, and she defended it like once every like 3 months. And then she just decided
She had that belt at the same time as something too, didn't she?
yeah, she had her Money in the Bank briefcase. She won the 5-star and was carrying around her little briefcase. And then she just voluntarily, because she was also the Goddess of Stardom champion. So she's like, I'm a tag team champion. I'm challenging for the world title. I don't have time for this other belt. So she vacates that belt, the
Do
SWA
you
belt.
remember that moment too? Shuri's the so Shuri's a double champion. The SWA belt isn't really being defended. Is that's also the time where Shuri's basically holding both belts because Julia's injured for her tag team championship?
Julia was injured, one or vice versa. Shuri got injured, and also Julia got injured, but like not at the same time. So it's like they were tag team champions for. It's funny enough, they were one of the best tag team champions, even though they never defended the belts.
Oh, could you? What a team, huh?
Julia and Shuri.
And Shuri made Julia so fucking cool.
Julia made Shuri so goofy, or maybe vice versa.
That was the next thing I was gonna say. Julia taught Shuri how to dance.
I've seen Shuri's TikToks. I think she made Julia goofy. Shuri vacates, then Thekla challenges Mina Shirakawa. Thekla wins it, and they finally have like another foreign women to have this belt so they could have title matches for it again. But it doesn't matter because Mayu says, "You know what, Thekla? This belt means everything to you. To me, it's just like another check on the box. I want to be a Grand Slam champion." She beats Thekla in like one of the best matches I think like Stardom's ever had.
Yeah, Thekla versus Mayu. Was that May 5th, 2022?
Yes. And then Mayu throws the
Wow.
SWA belt in the trash.
Right in the trash.
Thekla
Something that looking at this sort of shows
And then it says it got deactivated. Mayu voluntarily deactivated so she can challenge for the IWGP women's belt. And then like Wikipedia just says November 3rd, this championship was abandoned.
I want to actually bring up
It's an
Mayu's defenses. I wonder if that's got to be on WWR Stardom. Maybe I'll bring that up in a sec. But so Thekla becomes the SWA champion. At that point, it's a vacated belt because that's the belt Jamie Hayter had to get rid of because she couldn't travel anymore. So Thekla's in town, and so we have Thekla versus Mina for a vacated belt. That's actually just sort of neat because right now we got Thekla hunting down Mina in America. It's like, let's do it all over again for one of their 30 belts.
They'll probably bring it back.
The SWA belt's about to be an AEW belt. That's almost as prestigious as one of those Ring of Honor belts. You brought up cage match. Did Mayu versus Thekla get a 9.74 or was that something else?
I think Mayu's just a 9.74.
Oh, Mayu's just a 9.74. That's way too low. you dummies on cage match. Some asshole put her as a 1. You know that's true.
How many times did she defend this belt? I don't remember that.
It said 3. Yeah, I don't remember it either. That's why I want to see the match history.
I don't remember her beating Alpha Female. That probably made that leave my brain.
Oh, that was one of the first times I saw Alpha Female, and I thought it was great.
And then she wrestled. Yeah, I'm okay. She wrestled in New York.
Kylan King.
And then I remember. Yeah, so Mayu they packed themselves into a corner where they're passing this. They could have just kept the belt on Thekla, but they wanted Mayu to be a Grand Slam champion. So Mayu wins the belt, and now, oh whoopsie! Like unless she faces Thekla again, there's no one else she's allowed to fight for this belt. So she challenges Fukigen, who's actually not Japanese. She's from outer space, so it's okay. It's like the Undertaker is just from parts unknown.
I love it. I love it. Hey, but that's wrestling in a nutshell, right? And great thing. Um, the for like a belt with a sort of a short history, like it is pretty wild though, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like I don't know. And just the fact that it survived. I mean, it survived the. I don't know. It just seems like a fun time. So like Chicken says 2018 to 2020 was the best. So in 2016, Stardom has the balls, or at least they have a working relationship to say we're gonna like just have a belt and travel. It almost reminds me. This probably isn't completely the case. I don't know the British scene, but like New Japan, the Rev Pro belt ends up over here a lot. So it almost sort of feels like that sort of thing where it's like we'll have your champion on our TV a lot, and we'll both it'll work out for both of us. And so that's what when you see Tony Storm having a title for a year, a brand new belt, that is just awesome.
so I'm gonna bring up the roster page because I haven't given this too much thought. Is there even any like who would you make the new SWA champion if they brought that back? Is Xena is the only person that could have hold this belt besides like Shuri or Fukigen, I guess.
Well, why don't we do this? If we were to have yeah, can we all right, so we're gonna fantasy bracket this. The SWA belt is back. Let's have a 4-person tournament. Do we have 4 different nationalities out here? We have Fukigen.
Hanan, okay, we got our Japanese girl.
All right, I like it.
Natsupoi is a fairy. That's international, baby. No, Shuri.
Okay.
Got 2.
So we need one more. Shuri needs an opponent.
Xena. Okay, now we need one more. Do we even have? We don't have a 4th.
No. We do. We have Hanan and Fukigen. And Shuri versus Xena.
Well, Shuri versus Xena is like one of the best matches like Stardom's had in a while.
They also did have a great match too. What did they fight for? It was a Xena retire, or it was a Xena like go home match a couple years ago. Like her visa didn't work and she was like, I just want to fight Shuri. So they had a match that was way better than it needed to be because Xena can go.
But basically, that you can't even you can get the 2 wrestlers, one of them that's not Japanese, and then one of them that is, and then you gotta like get shenanigans. You can see why the belt had to get thrown in the trash.
Yeah,
Retired.
just trying to fantasy book a new belt is hard enough, so we understand why this belt no longer exists. However, with a partnership they have with AEW right now, loosely, I guess Bushiroad in New Japan, you would almost think, considering they have 45 titles, an SWA belt coming up could almost make sense.
There's like 5 women on their entire roster. Not even Karen Jarrett's like one of their top 5.
I don't know. I've never seen her before.
Karen Jarrett.
But anyways, do you want to finish up with this SWA belt? The SWA belt's gone. It had a fine life. Some might even say, if I was to type it into a thing to tell me what they thought about it, though the SWA title is no longer active, it remains. This is actually true, considering we spent the time recapping it. This remains a fascinating chapter in Stardom's history, an experiment in global outreach and a proving ground for some of the best wrestlers in the world. Some might say that right now Tony Storm is timeless only because she started with an SWA title. I thought we did good. I like that. What do you think? And then next time we do this, we do a the futures title. What do you think? We just do title by title until we get to the top. I like that. I think that was a good segment. What do you think, friends? With that, I would like to thank you all and you too, Juno, especially for another great week here, another great episode. You can follow everything we do at StardomFan.com. The podcast is there, the YouTube is there, the tour posters are there. There's articles. I mean, if it's Stardom and Stardom Fan related, it is at StardomFan.com. I would like to thank Grizz and I would like to thank Chicken for supporting us in the middle of the show with your coffee donations. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody in the chat. And Juno, I have some very exciting news. 27 minutes ago, unless I'm reading this wrong, we'll still put it over, but it looks like that Chicken Fam has become a member of the Stardom Fan Icon tier on Patreon. Chicken, thank you. That's more than generous. And you know what that means. You're back to picking a monthly show for us. So there's hey, if it's new jeans, it's new jeans. But we still have the Arisa in the bag. So quite frankly, when Chicken recommends us a show, it's usually from an era I didn't watch, and I love learning about some of the classic Stardom.
Yeah,
Anything else?
He's usually like, here, let's watch these matches. He's like,
well, what have we done? Like we watched on his request. I mean, we've watched Arisa, Jungle,
somebody else.
Who is the Oedo Tai girl? I'm having a
Kagetsu.
Yeah, it's like we've spent hours watching stuff on Chicken's recommendation, and it has all been great. Actually,
no, it's
Arisa
all good.
out of those was probably my favorite because she also happens to sing really beautifully.
I just joke because it's like my favorite era is always when you start watching, but there's so much. They're just putting out so much new stuff that it's like it's hard to go back and find time to watch like the old stuff. But it's all good.
Oh yeah, I'm with you. 2021 was the best year in Stardom.
Yes.
Which is also a Chicken joke in chat. Or he said that to us more than once. He's like, "Yeah, you like Saya. That's how I know you started watching in 2021."
He's like,
anyone who thinks Saya is amazing didn't watch in the teens.
What's funny is it's not like it. If you're like a WWE fan, it's like, oh yeah, it's like I thought the '90s was good. No, '80s with Hulk. No, I mean if you get like the 2000s, there's like Batista and John Cena. He's like, you guys are fans of 2021, 2018 to 2020 is the peak.
That is what's funny with Stardom, where it's like it's so compact that you're in like you're not in decades, you're in like 3-year chunks, right? I would even say like 1 to 2 year chunks, but
But I'll tell you what. Well, hopefully it stays good. But in 30 years, we might be looking back, and this is the golden period. Who knows?
What if these are the greatest times of your life?
Isn't that like a famous author? He's like, I wish there was a way to know you were in the good times when you were still living them.
Oh, that's deep. And with that, I suppose this is where you say bye, Poi. And my new favorite sign off that I put on the last podcast is you looking at your screen saying, how do I turn this shit off?
How do I turn this shit off? No, really, how do I do it?